This private road was built to facilitate a local construction project. It is more than a symbol connecting the present to the future of the people who live here. The project included construction of an intake weir for a mini hydropower plant, as well as a dam and a power plant along the Asiga River to convert water power into electrical energy. The location is the Republic of the Philippines in the Caraga region on the island of Mindanao. The river is the Asiga River. Local companies involved in the project were supported by Chodai, a major Japanese civil engineering consulting firm. The project was slated for completion in 4 years. In 2011, Chodai took on the project in this expansive area. At the time, the Caraga region faced the stark reality that the basic infrastructure was fragile. Power and clean water supplies were unstable, and power and water outages occurred on a daily basis. In fact, most of the areas did not even have a supply of clean water and electricity. Development of the infrastructure was the most urgent issue. Despite these needs, the National Public Works budget was prioritized for the big cities, such as Manila and Cebu, and was not within Mindanao's reach. Not to mention the historical conflicts which had a negative impact on the development of the infrastructure.
フィリピンまだまだ平均年齢も若くて、人口も 2% 程度で増えていくといった見通しも出ている中、ミンダナオはフィリピンのフードバスケットと言われているぐらい重要な地域になっています。一方でその紛争という問題が未だに残っていて、経済水準が低いという現状もあって、ポテンシャルが生かされていない、貧困がなくならないといったこの悪循環になっている。
The solution was a public-private partnership known as PPP. PPP is the cooperation of national and local governments with private companies to complete regional development and provide public services to the population. Chodai played a central role in PPP development, utilizing local resources and linking them to economic activity. In Butuan, a major city in the Caraga region, Equiparco is seen as a major construction company. Founder Rani Lagnada had a vision for regional development that began with using renewable energy to develop the basic infrastructure. In 2011, Chodai and Mr. Lagnada started out on their journey together. Chodai invited Mr. Lagnada and his team to Japan, where they visited an historic hydropower plant.
日本の100年以上続く水力発電所、そこにお連れしまして、日本の技術、それがこれだけ長期間にわたって継続していると、そういった日本の技術をフィリピンに展開する役割を頂戴は担えますと。ロニーさんが求められていたのはエンジニアリング、それも質の高いエンジニアリングですね。でそこで頂戴に出会ったということで感激されていたのではないかと。
Chodai and Equiparco established a partnership, and the development started to move forward in a major way. Chodai and Equiparco moved quickly. After several site visits, discussions, and negotiations, Chodai and Equiparco reached an agreement on the joint development of 3 mini hydropower plants around Butuan City. 5 months after their first meeting, the two companies formally signed a contract. Chodai had 5 important roles. Chodai is continuing to provide consulting on every core business function, from engineering to finance, which has resulted in a stronger business with a higher cost-performance ratio. In July 2012, the Asiga Green Energy Corporation was established to implement the Asiga River Mini Hydropower Project. Chodai has a 10% stake in the company and took the lead in fundraising for the project.
短期でこう例えば水を供給する、電気を供給する、これはできると思うんです。ただ長期で継続しようとするとやっぱり民間事業として成り立たないといけない。オペレーションに入った時はですね、財務的な手当を継続して残していかないと、設備の更新だとかですね、そういったところにお金が回らないことになりますので、長期の計画でもって必要な設備を継続して使えるような体制を作っていかないといけないと。
In December 2012, construction started on the Asiga mini hydropower plant just 1 year after the two companies met. Under Chodai's supervision, the sound of powerful hammering began to echo across the valley. Chodai became the driving force in getting many other projects underway. In May 2015, Chodai signed a memorandum of understanding with Equiparco to establish a biomass power business using rice husks. In April 2016, Chodai also signed a memorandum of understanding for a wind power business. In concert with the 2011 Memorandum of Understanding, when all 5 renewable energy projects go into operation, the total power generated will be 57.5 megawatts. This will exceed 50% of the power demand in Butuan City and the neighboring province of Agusan del Norte. In addition, reductions in CO2 emissions are expected to be 91,400 tons per year when compared to fossil fuel power generation. These reductions correspond to the CO2 emissions from the combustion of approximately 20,000 barrels of fuel. Clearly, feasibility studies were going to be essential to move these projects forward. Chodai systematically garnered support for the feasibility studies from the Ministry of Economy, Trade and Industry, JICA, the Japan International Cooperation Agency, and JBIC, the Japan Bank for International Cooperation. In May 2015, construction started on the Tagibo River water supply facility. The project was designed to supply up to 80,000 cubic meters of water per day for the next 25 years to the Butuan City Water District, which has a population of approximately 400,000. Clean and safe water was soon going to reach the people. In the same month, Chodai exchanged with several partner companies a memorandum of understanding entitled the Comprehensive Partnership for Regional Development of Mindanao through Private Initiative. The purpose of this agreement between private companies in Japan and the Philippines was to promote regional development under the initiative of the private sector. Another purpose of the agreement was to contribute to the peace-building efforts of the deep-rooted conflict in Mindanao through regional development to bring about a sustainable economic cycle. All parties had high hopes that the rewards of the PPP would reach a large number of people. Two years after construction started, the Tagibo water supply facility was completed and put into service in April 2017. The facility has provided a stable water supply since it was put into operation, and the amount of clean water used by the people has skyrocketed. Currently, construction is underway to more than double the supply. Around the same time the Tagibo water supply facility went into operation, the Asiga mini hydropower plant started operations. Water flows through this head race to a power plant 4 kilometers away. Water flows vigorously through the penstock with an effective head of approximately 110 meters into 2 power generators of 4 megawatts each. Once in operation, the facility started sending renewable energy to the province of Agusan del Norte. Mindanao's strength is in primary industries such as rice cultivation and fishing. Shrimp farming flourished in the 1990s, but shrimp diseases spread indiscriminately due to misguided breeding methods, and a large number of shrimp fish ponds were abandoned. Today, instead of cultivating shrimp, Chodai and a local partner company are now cultivating young eels caught in the Sea of Mindanao in accordance with the Memorandum of Understanding, the Comprehensive Partnership for Regional Development of Mindanao through private initiative. Currently, 32 ponds draw from an abundant underground water supply in the mountains, and the eels are provided with good quality feed made in Japan. This is the first ever overseas aquaculture project operated in compliance with and certified by the Japan Agricultural Standards, JAS, established by the Ministry of Agriculture, Forestry, and Fisheries. All of the technology has been transferred to the local staff, and they are conducting the operations without Japanese involvement. Up to 200 tons of eels grown in accordance with Japanese standards are shipped annually. Chodai is also engaged with a rice mill and has implemented a rice milling machine from a Japanese manufacturer. The operation started in August 2015. In the past, paddy or rough rice could be milled and bought cheaply from other areas, but the ability to produce extremely high-quality milled rice locally has led to increased income for the farmers. The rice husks milled here are utilized in the biomass power project. The Caraga region has excellent geographical access to Manila and Cebu and is also favorable for overseas shipping. In 2016, Chodai led a feasibility study in Butuan City, a transportation hub, with the support of the Ministry of Economy, Trade and Industry of Japan. This site is for the development of an industrial park covering 140 hectares. It will be a broad base for processing regional primary products and increasing the value added to those products.
例えば工業団地の開発が進めば水の需要が増える、精米事業で出てきたもみ殻をバイオマス発電に生かすとかですね、こう事業間のつながりがあるんです。一個の事業がもう一つの事業を後押しするというかですね、一つうまくいったら次の事業も促進できるというシナジーが生まれていく。
While the industrial park was being developed, the need for improved logistics increased dramatically. The existing network of roads was not enough to accommodate the growth, and new high-standard roads and bridges were required. For instance, this small port needed significant expansion. Regional development was envisioned, and Chodai saw more opportunities for long-term contributions. In 2016, Equiparco's Rani Lagnada was elected mayor of Butuan. One of the major reasons he ran for office was to accelerate the development of Butuan. With the election of Mayor Rani, the movement towards regional development accelerated even more.
During the transformation, during my stint from the private sector down to the public sector, Chodai was also active, especially on preparing the city development plan or on the strategic level or on a global standard level, especially the Japanese standards. I very much well appreciate the contribution of Chodai, especially with his team.
In just over 9 years since 2011, Chodai's detailed and massive blueprint for the region has turned into many successful projects. This is how fast Chodai works. Chodai has also contributed significantly to job creation, regional development, peace building, and the achievement of the SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals. In 2017, Chodai's efforts in Mindanao were selected by the United Nations Economic Commission for Europe as one of the 10 PPP best practices in the world. People First PPP is advocated by the United Nations. This is a new approach for PPP, a people-centered approach, and people are the biggest beneficiaries.
一番恩恵を受けるべきというのはやはり地域住民、そこにいる人たちであるべきです。インフラ整備や公共サービスというのは手段であって、その手段の結果、地域の住民の人たちが豊かな生活を実現できるとか。
In the fall of 2011, when the Mindanao projects were about to begin, Mr. Kato of Chodai often heard President Rani say, "Thank you."
何のありがとうだろうと思いましたが、ロニー社長は今一緒にやっていることが次の世代、子どもの世代、孫の世代、将来のこのブトワンの地域開発につながっていく、そこを今一緒にやってくれることに本当に感謝の言葉がない。 People First PPP、 まさにそこで目指している考え方というのはロニー社長のありがとうにつながるところがあるのではないかなと。
In 2021, the Mindanao project won joint second place in the Building Back Better Infrastructure Awards at the United Nations PPP Forum. It was selected from 66 projects from 25 countries around the world as a practice that truly achieved a people-first PPP, which could be deployed and disseminated to other regions and sectors around the world.
このミンダナオモデルで重要なことは地域の人々との信頼関係に基づく取り組みだということです。これを頂戴が先導役として届けていくことがアジア、そして世界の途上国の貧困や飢餓、紛争、戦争をなくしていくきっかけになり、持続可能な社会づくり、そういったことに貢献していくことが頂戴、そして日本のエンジニアとしての使命と考えて取り組んでおります。
The setting sun over the rice mill paints the sky a brilliant red color. This is just one of Chodai's business initiatives. Below this evening sky lies a world that extends beyond to the people who live there. Chodai's mission is to deploy the Mindanao model far and wide, for people, for dreams, with technology.